Can we talk for a minute about our Integrating Heart and Mind workshop?
Absolutely. I'm excited. It's coming up in the fall of 2024.
I'm so excited. We changed the format to make it more accessible to people with like work schedules and personal schedules. And so this time we're going to do it 3 hours on a Friday afternoon or evening, depending on where you're at, and 5 hours on Saturday for 2 different weeks in September.
Yeah, it's so great. Like if you're finding yourself stuck in like sticky bad patterns or having communication issues or something like that, or if you want to just like get closer and trust yourself or your partner more, this is the workshop for you.
Yeah, and individuals are welcome, couples are welcome. If you're interested in really thinking through how to serve yourself well inside of your relationships, then we've built a workshop that will support you in finding the ways that are just right for you.
To sign up, head over to our website at whydoesmypartner.com/events.
We hope you'll join us. Welcome to the Why Does My Partner podcast.
I'm Jules.
I'm Vicky.
And I'm Rebecca. We're your hosts. We're also couples therapists and messy humans bumbling through our own relationships every day.
We met at a training, and our secret sauce is that we and our partners became fast friends. Between us, we have more than 40 years of experience holding hard relational questions with our clients. We're going to bring those questions here.
And together, we're going to take a stab at answering those questions. This podcast is not a substitute for couples therapy. If something you hear in this podcast stirs something deep within you about your relationship, reach out to a couples therapist in your area.
We also love to hear your questions, so don't forget to go over to whydoesmypartner.com to leave a question of your own. Here's today's question.
Welcome back. This is Jules.
This is Vicky.
And this is Rebecca. Today's question is, why does my partner give me anxiety? And friends, this is me. Like, it's not my question. That's not what I'm saying here. But like, I am the partner who gives my partner anxiety. I have this superpower. I am like a sorceress. I can cast these spells.
You are amazing. You're like
you make
magic.
It sound awesome the way you
You
say
like
that.
put anxiety in a package and hand it on over.
I am
How
so
do you do
good
this?
at this.
Why on earth and how does this happen?
Well, it's contagious.
Mm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
that is a good way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really hard to be
Oh,
with
yeah.
someone who's anxious and not either feel anxious also or have a desire to turn away.
Yeah, because I think I do it to
Or get
Dave,
them
too.
to stop it.
Yeah, or get them to,
Oh, yeah.
or try to fix it, or try to fix
Mhm.
them, or
Mhm.
yes.
Yeah.
hmm
Mm-hmm.
Because when anxiety is coming at you, I don't know, I probably picked it up in a lot of places growing up,
Mm-hmm.
but when anxiety is coming at you, it's really, really overwhelming. And you either join it,
Mm.
or you try to change it, or you try to leave it.
Thank you. I was going to say run away, but just leave it. So yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm.
So you join it, change it, or leave it. So if you, caller, are the person who is joining, then your partner gave you anxiety. You picked up that package and ate it like ice cream. Nom, 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 nom. And you probably can't even help it, is what you're saying. Am I getting it?
Yeah. Well, it's in the air. So
Mhm.
like you're
Yeah.
responding to something that's in the air.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It makes complete sense that your partner's giving you anxiety if you have an anxious partner.
Yeah, that makes
But
sense.
also, like
Mhm.
I think like we need to figure out like what can we back up at like 12
What is
steps?
anxiety?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is
Mhm.
anxiety?
Yeah.
I think even like the three of us might have slightly different definitions of what anxiety is.
Probably. I mean, the
Slightly.
first
Mhm.
thing that comes to me
Yeah.
is just how many clients I've had
Mhm.
and my own system, my partner, all the people, friends, and they say, "Well, I have really bad anxiety right now." And if I stop and ask, "What does that mean?" I get a different answer every time.
Mhm.
So what I'm catching is that we use that word to mean a lot of different things. So that's
I
my like
agree.
knee-jerk response to it.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
So for the purpose of this episode, I think we're kind of categorizing anxiety in like a worry category,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? But I also want to share with our listeners that in my own system, as I have moved into greater and greater wellness and into a deeper relationship with my anxiety, I have come to learn that my anxiety is actually high degrees of care. It's like I'm super caring. I'm
Yeah,
caring
like you
so
love so
freaking
much.
much. Yeah.
Mhm.
You care about things going well. You care about your loved ones.
I
You're caring
care
so
so
much.
much.
What happens? What does like your anxiety look like because you care so much?
No, it looks like anxiety because I care so much.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, and so
So it
other
could be
thing.
anything. It could be like you're getting on a plane and, by the way, I'm really anxious about it. We're going to get to the airport in time. Do we pack everything we need?
Oh,
And
that.
also what's
Okay.
going to happen to the plane? What happens if the plane isn't on time? Are we going to make our connection? It could be
Mhm.
that kind of. Am I getting
Okay.
it, Rebecca?
You're
or
getting
no?
it.
Okay.
You're getting it.
Okay.
Mhm.
I have to like my I don't want to like make this all about anxiety, but like my trick in here is actually to shift what I care about,
Nice.
right? So like, do I care about getting to the plane on time or do I care about having an awesome journey with the people that I'm with?
Mhm.
Okay.
Right?
So
Because
you shift your focus. That's what you're saying.
I shift what I care about,
Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
That sounds
right?
lovely.
Yeah. But
Yeah, because you can't actually turn off the carry. So then, okay, wait. This is so genius, and this is like bonus for all the
I
listeners out there.
cannot turn off the care, not even
Right.
a little
That
bit.
reaction was
And
awesome.
by the way,
Awesome.
okay, I love this because by the way,
Huh?
if you push down that anxiety, then you're pushing down your big heart, caring, loving self. And it goes, no, and makes it worse because it
'Cause then
doesn't
I'm either
want you
gonna
to push the care away.
I'm gonna do one of three things if I have to push my anxiety away. I'm either gonna totally freeze because I don't know what the heck to do if I can't care. And my heart's gonna go cold.
Mhm.
I'm gonna get really big and loud and lash out at myself, at you, at the world, at the
Mhm.
person that gave me a
Mhm.
ticket to the airplane, right? Like I'm gonna lash out
Mhm.
everywhere,
Mhm.
or I'm gonna run the heck away because I'm
Mhm.
rejected and the world doesn't want me
Oh.
Oh, sweetie.
because I care too much
Yeah.
and nobody else cares.
Mhm.
You know, so it's like
Yeah.
it's the care.
It's
For
care.
me, it's care.
Mhm.
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 But this has also like really been like an earned way of seeing my own anxiety.
Mhm.
It's certainly not a place I started. And if I
Mhm.
when I think about this question, why does my partner give me anxiety? Um, this was me. I don't think my partner and I are in the same place now because we
Mhm.
understand my anxiety differently.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I understand because my relationship to it is different, right? So it doesn't do the same thing in my partner anymore.
Yeah. So you shifted your relationship with your anxiety first.
Yes.
Then you
Yeah.
started talking to him more about it as you're shifting.
No, I shifted my relationship to my anxiety.
And then he shifted his relationship
then
to
it
your
shifted,
anxiety.
and then it shifted.
Oh, and then it shifted.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. And so then
Okay.
you're not giving him your anxiety so much.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because my relationship is different. It's not something to give, it's something to understand. It's
Yeah.
something to process.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
That's a great way to phrase it too. It's something to
Totally.
understand.
Totally. So
Yeah.
that's possibly what's happening, but there are other things that are possibly
Yeah.
happening too.
Mhm.
So if your partner is not anxious and you are on the receiving end of their behavior and you are getting anxiety, there's not another option.
Mhm.
So it could be that there's something in their behavior that is pulling on the implicit threads of your own history and the neural networks that are coming to answer that little tug are full of anxiety, maybe overcare, maybe worry, right? Not overcare. I don't mean it like that. It's like the high degree of care. I want to say it the way you say it because I like it because I don't think it's actually over. That doesn't feel right, but it's that high degree of care. So it could be that. So it could be that, there's some fear or some worry, it's kind of energy attached to whatever they're reminding you of from your own history, and you don't even know what it is because it's totally
Mhm.
subconscious.
Subconscious. That's what I was going to say. It's that it's reminding you
Mhm.
subconsciously of something from your past.
Yes.
You poetically say it better than that.
Well, that's
But
the quick way.
implicit thread, right? Well, implicit threads is beautiful and poetic, and then there's like just subconscious reminders.
you're getting subconscious reminders, but the thing is
Mhm.
that you don't get to know that you're living in memory in that moment. It just
Right.
feels like they're making you crazy.
Mhm.
Can I add a piece in
Mhm.
here?
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
I think culture plays a big piece in this, not just
Mhm.
culture, but epigenetics.
Mhm.
And depending on where our peoples come from,
Mhm.
I think some cultures run more hot, run more anxious than others, right?
Absolutely.
Oh,
And
okay.
Oh no,
so
this proven.
yeah,
Yep.
Mhm.
Mhm.
so there are some groups of peoples who are gonna like it's gonna come through the line, and
Mhm.
you won't have like memories, but you'll
Mhm.
have some kind of cellular memory,
Mhm.
and
Yeah, it's a genetic it's a
Mhm.
shift in the way the histones on your DNA are making your DNA fire in a particular way. And so actually you could be in that way wired for a little bit more anxiety. And that would be common if you have ancestry that was in any way the target of systemic oppression, genocide, any horrible
Mhm.
attacks, also famine. That's a common one as
Mhm.
well.
Mhm.
So if you come from spaces where maybe there was a lot of life threat for one reason or another, you might have more anxiety. So that's
Yeah.
normal. Yeah. The other thought I was having was if you're in that, if you, I've talked a little bit on our podcast about attachment theory,
Yeah.
but as a brief
Teeny bit.
reminder,
Mhm.
I think of attachment quilts rather than attachment types.
I
This is
love
just the
this
way I think about
language.
it. When I look at the more complex research in adult attachment, and I look at Crittenden's work, and I read a lot about this stuff, and I tend to not be overly categorical about it. So I think of it as like you have an attachment quilt, and it has 4 colors in it, and there's secure, and then these 3 types of insecure, and you may have little squares of all the colors, or you may be more dominant in one color or another color. So if you have more on the anxious end, what that means is you're going to be a little bit preoccupied with worrying about what's happening in the other person. If you can't
Mm.
figure it out, if you can't manage how they're feeling or how they're thinking, because that's part of, if you have anxious attachment, basically what that means is you got exposed to a lot of stuff early on in your life where you needed to manage the other person or take care of them in some way to get care.
Mm.
And so you get
Ding ding ding
really
ding
good.
ding.
Yep. so so that would create
Mhm.
a habit of trying to guess what's happening in other people and trying to manage what's happening in other people. If you're a therapist listening to this podcast, lots of us have a ton of this color in our quilt. We like to mind read others and stuff like that. So so we have a lot of this kind of energy where we're really worried about how the other person is thinking and feeling and being and da da da. And so especially one, that's just a nerve-wracking and anxious position. That's part of why it's called anxious attachment, because there's a lot of anxiety involved, but also because you're trying to do something impossible, which is to manage the internal experience of another human. And in addition to that, um, if you have somebody who's a little bit harder to read, that feeling can feel really
Ooh.
scary.
Yes, it can.
So that may be part of where your anxiety is coming from too.
Yeah, that
Mm.
your typical reading the other person skills aren't working.
Right, that's a
Aren't working.
possibility.
Mhm.
Or that,
Okay.
when something's going wrong, or like I have clients who do this. I've done this in my own history where you will have said a thing and you think you said it a little bit off and you just like ruminate on it. Like, how
Mhm.
did that land for them? Oh no, I hurt them. Oh no, I harmed them. And you just go down an
Yep.
anxiety swim down your anxiety river, just get swept away in the worry about how you're affecting people. So that's another possibility. And then the other one I was thinking about was, well, you could be catching
Yeah.
your own intuition.
And
Like,
reading it as anxiety because you're caring about or worried about or preoccupied with.
uh-huh.
And there might
Even
be some,
subconsciously.
yeah, even
Mhm.
subconsciously, right? There might be some confusion about what the senses that you're picking up. If you're
Yeah.
not if you're not in relationship with like, oh, what's happening right now? What's happening inside of me? What information am I getting? How
Yeah.
am I digesting that?
Mm.
If you're not there, you're just going to read it as
Mhm. Yeah. And I
Mhm.
don't want listeners of this podcast to get carried away with what I'm about to say, but I do want to give it as an example just in case this is happening to you. And most people, this is not what's happening, but for some people it will be. And so I want to mention it. Sometimes when I've done work with a couple, the one partner is feeling lots of anxiety, and it turns out the other one is having an affair. And there was tons of little implicit scraps of information
Mhm.
that their subconscious was catching. Remember that medulla oblongata is taking in millions of bits of information per
Mhm.
second. You're not catching all of that. Your lower brain, your subconscious is catching it. So there are times when, whew, my partner's giving me anxiety because something's really wrong. Or there was this one time where somebody was squirreling away money and planning on leaving. It wasn't an affair thing, but they were planning on leaving. There was some weird,
Mhm.
like, lying stuff happening. And the other partner's super anxious and feels like they are missing something and they're just
Oh,
feeling
wow.
icky and overwhelmed and
Mhm.
kind of anxious all the time. Well, they were actually catching that something was off. So
Yeah.
it could be that. It could be you're having real
Mhm.
worry that's attached to something real.
Mhm.
Oof. So that's all sorts of things
It's
that
all
could be
kind of
going on.
mixed up in there, right?
Yeah.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And I want to just kind of like give one more like piece in here for our listeners because we're talking about this like quilt of anxious attachment. I just want to name that there's this other thing also that we call like earned secure attachment that a
Mhm.
lot of folks can like work towards. And
Mhm.
that's like another color that can be added to the quilt.
You know what I think
Yeah.
of? I think of it
That's
as like
nice.
my secure thread, and I
Mhm.
threaded new patterns in all of my insecure quilt colors.
Yeah,
And so I
Mm.
think of, I don't know why,
That's
but I
pretty.
call
I
my
love this.
secure I call my secure attachment squares green. And so I imagine that I have a quilt with lots of different colors, but a bunch of my colors that are not green have green thread embroidery all over them.
Right.
Mhm.
Because I've helped greet them well. And so there is, don't worry if you have a quilt that has a lot of insecure colors in it, that does not mean
You're
all is
doomed.
lost. That's
Right.
not a thing.
Right.
And I kind of want to just
Mhm.
like hold gently this
Mhm.
piece I introduced at the top of this podcast about
Mhm.
the way that I now see it and relate to my anxiety around it
Mhm.
Mhm.
being this kind of super care power, because that's my green thread,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah,
I
to
think it's
understand it now.
yeah, I think it's possible for all of us, for everybody to kind of get to know these parts that are harder to be with and
Mhm.
to build relationship with them. And in doing that, we create those green threads.
Yeah.
Well said.
We'll
So
leave it
let's,
there for today.
yeah,
Mhm.
take care, y'all.
Thanks for being with us.
Bye-bye.
That wraps up this week's episode. Join us again next week for another Why Does My Partner?
We hope that you continue to listen wherever you get your audio and that you'll follow the show.
To go deeper, join us at one of our workshops. You'll find our next date at whydoesmypartner.com.
Did you know you can ask us your questions?
Your questions are relational gold.
Go to whydoesmypartner.com to either write in or record your question for a future episode.
And here are some gratitudes. Thanks to Al Hoberman, our sound editor and podcast production magic maker.
Thanks to every one of you who has joined us for our workshops in the past. We've learned so much from all of you.
And thanks to everyone who's reviewed the show on Apple Podcasts. Your reviews help others to find the show.
Take care of each other best you can.
See you next time.